I would have liked
But
to see a
anyway,
tight end added from the portal. This offense
well,
could use an experienced tight end.
God, we had plenty of depth before everybody went down in the
Right.
spring, though. Did we really need somebody else? I mean, Austin leaving early, yeah, I get it. Uh, but you
Fedone
had
probably won't play at all.
Donnie, who's not going to play at all this year, I don't think, because even though they haven't disclosed the severity or what the type of injury is, I don't think you're going to see him play. But I don't know. I don't know. What's the answer? I think they're going into the portal for a tight end now.
I
Or
would.
maybe they're putting that on hold, going, well, screw it. Travis is going to be back. What we need is like 3 defensive linemen tomorrow. And maybe they're going to take that one tight end spot that maybe they thought they needed to go after and say, nope, we need somebody in the middle that can at least plug a hole 5 snaps a game just to give Robinson and Hutmacher a blow, you know? So, anyway, anything else on football that's on your mind?
Yeah, the secondary. How do you think the secondary will shape up? Because
Good
replacement, we
question.
lost about 5 secondary players, and they brought in about equal amount. Did you see anything in the spring game, or anything will win it?
Well, when they were playing two-hand touch and Anthony Grant broke loose on that 60-yard run because basically the entire defense gave up because he got touched behind the line of scrimmage and they didn't blow the whistle.
Right. Yeah.
And Tommy Hill was doing all he could do to catch him. I'm like, okay, Tommy's not slow. That means Anthony's damn fast. I saw, best as I could tell, based on my crappy eyesight, I couldn't tell who was who. I had no idea who was making plays until they announced it because I couldn't read numbers on jerseys or anything. So thank God that gets fixed on Wednesday. But my guess is Omar Brown's been hurt. I figured he was kind of a shoe-in to really make a big impact at corner, and maybe he still will. But based on what I saw, it's going to be Newsome at one corner. You're probably going to see Tommy Hill get pushed a little in fall camp, but I think he might have locked down that other corner spot. And then it's going to be between Farmer, Buford, and who else is at safety? Deshaun Singleton. I think those 3 guys are going to be fighting
Middleton's
out for the playing
one.
time.
Ola Gates is another.
Ola Gates, dude, that
Oh,
dude likes to hit people. Holy cow. For a little
I'm just
skinny kid,
surprised
he
he just hasn't made
loves hitting people.
play.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
it would have made
well,
more of an impact by now.
when you got to figure too, 3 dudes came back last year that they
Right.
probably didn't expect to come back last year and play. So I think Gates would have played a lot last year if Deontay and Markel didn't come back. But that would be my guess. I don't want to give away necessarily my picks for the black shirts for our next live stream in May, because that's what we're going to be doing is picking our black shirts for 2022. And dang it sure changed now without Casey Rogers in the mix, and who knows who else is not going to actually be on the roster by the time fall camp arrives. But I don't know, man. I know we've got a lot of talent in the room. I'm kind of surprised they went as deep into the transfer portal and JUCO ranks as they did to bring dudes in. I thought, shoot, do they not have confidence in guys like Pola Gates and guys like Farmer and others? Or is it just, we just want to bring some really good dudes in here so that there's always constant, really deep, heavy duty competition? And to me, that tends to be the way I read it. I think you're probably going to end up with 8 guys that could probably start on most Big Ten teams that'll be in our 2 deep. That's at least my read, because it's kind of been Travis Fisher's MO. Develops dudes really, really well, and just about anybody that rolls out there is going to do a good job. So,
Did you see
how
anything
about
in
you?
Grant? Did you see anything out of Grant that would lead you to believe that he will start or at least share the carries?
I think right now at the top of the chart, you're looking at 1A, 1B, 1C, and that's Grant, Ramir Johnson, and Jaquez Yant. So long as Jaquez Yant stays the hell out of Raising Cane's between now and fall camp. And that's really hard to do, because that's one of my favorite things on the planet. I've earned this. But I saw something out of him that we haven't seen in a while. Some shiftiness. He's got that ability to jump cut to the right, lazy leg you, whatever he needs to do to get a half a step on you. And then once he gets around the corner,
Right.
whew, buddy, that boy's got some. His first 2 steps, he's at full speed within 2 steps. So, yeah, I
I was
think
impressed by him.
I think
His
he runs
running.
out as number one, and I think between Ramir and Yant are going to be the 2 guys that are competing for the next amount of snaps. And Yant would be a great changeup because he's that between the tackle guy that nobody wants to deal with in about mid-third quarter on. So,
Right. I was impressed by him. He looks like a Power 5 running back. The instincts were there. He looks like he's ready to play right now. So
yep.
I liked what I saw. And as far as from the top JUCO running back, our previous 2, Mills and Bell, turned out to be effective players. Bell elsewhere, but he's still a good player. That's fine.
Yeah, he wasn't going to work in the Big Ten, but yeah, Mills was effective when he was healthy, for sure.
So,
no doubt about it, and especially against Wisconsin. Why the
I
hell
think
we
Grant
didn't
could add another dimension. He seemed very physical too. It seemed like he just wanted contact. So
Sure.
I like what I saw. So, and we still haven't seen AJ Allen play.
No.
So
No.
I
And
find
we
it
really
hard to
didn't
believe he'd redshirt.
we didn't see much from the wide receivers either. You had a few decent plays by Kamani Grimes and by some dudes that are going to be in a backup role, but we really didn't see, and I don't think they wanted to show anything. I think it was just get out of the deal healthy, keep Casey healthy, keep Purdy healthy, keep Logan healthy, though I don't see Logan being anything better than third string. I think Purdy showed enough after only being able to practice a week in spring before the spring game that he's got a very live arm. Accurate too. That pass he threw to AJ Rollins was absolutely picture perfect. Nobody was getting that ball but Rollins. Nobody. And I don't recall seeing Martinez throw many passes like that. Not to disparage a kid who's gone, but there's a reason why we didn't throw too many passes to tight ends down in the red zone. I don't know if Martinez was capable of it, but
just didn't have the consistent accuracy for it.
Yeah.
He didn't have the confidence. He preferred shorter throws. He also didn't have the old
shorter throws, or he loved to go deep on something that developed, and if a dude was wide open, he generally would hit him like a Touré or somebody. But I'm really looking forward to seeing because I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that Casey Thompson's got the starting job wrapped up at all. Not by any stretch. And I don't think Logan's going to challenge him. I think it's going to be Purdy. And if you were to ask me right now if I was going to pick my starting quarterback going into fall after what I saw in the spring game, I know Thompson's numbers were overall better, and they really didn't let him loose. But what they let Purdy do, I liked the way he threw the football a little bit better. Thought he had a better arm. I thought he was a little bit more mobile, getting in and out of the pocket. That one play where he ran up on the legs of Wyatt Lever was on a zone read or something. It looked from TV because the play was coming at us. We were sitting in an end zone for the spring game, and the play was coming at us, and it looked like he was trying to cut back behind Lever's block, and his foot just slipped on that crappy turf that they just replaced. So, but yeah, he showed all the kinds of mobility that you want for a guy that needs to get out of trouble against some of these defensive lines that, like you said, if Prohaska's not ready to go in the fall, it could be interesting trying to keep our quarterbacks healthy. At least both of them are mobile. I know Thompson's mobile. Purdy looked really, really quick. And of course, Smothers is definitely mobile. But if I were to put money down right now, I think it's an absolutely even quarterback competition going into the fall, barring injury to either one of those guys. So,
yeah, Martinez, first year with a more established offensive line, the offensive line that Frost inherited, he was a lot more confident with his passing game, a lot more balanced. Sure. But as the offensive line regressed after year one, as well as the wide receivers regressed, all we had was Wandale for a few seasons and no one else consistently.
Yeah,
his passing simultaneously also regressed.
Yeah.
But there's also a lack of weapons. I mean, if he still had Stanley, and if he still had JD, and if he still had Riley's whole line for another year, it would have been completely different. But it was he joined a rebuild, and it just didn't pan out as quick as he hoped.
Yeah.
I think Purdy can be one of those guys where he starts as a backup. If he were to play at some point in the season for whatever reason, he can be one of those guys that gets into a game, impresses, and holds the job.
Yeah, I was impressed with him.
Over.
I was impressed with his ability to make good decisions. I know he was 5 for 10, so he was only 50% in passing, but they were so vanilla. They weren't doing hardly
Right.
anything that I know they've been practicing. So, but hey, that first pass that Thompson threw looked like it could easily be an interception, but he put it where it needed to be for the receiver to go get it, and it got a first down on the first play. So, and then after that, Palmer did go deep once, but Casey didn't throw it, and he said it in the post game. He's like, "Oh, I would have been throwing into triple coverage. Of course, I'm not going to throw that ball." How many times do you recall watching Martinez, especially when he really didn't have a receiver other than Wandale? Did you see him tossing a ball up and just hoping,
Right.
in double coverage, that it would be okay? And many times it wasn't. It was either incomplete or it was picked. So, yeah, I liked the
That also
decision.
happens when you don't have balance with your running game, though.
No.
So that we're trying to. One thing is, based on what I saw from Pittsburgh last season, as far as Whipple's offense, Purdy mirrors the type of pocket quarterback Whipple's looking for. Just judging Pittsburgh's games, I saw a lot of their games.
He looked a lot like Pickett. He's big and tall.
He looked a lot like Pickett. It reminded me a lot of Kirk Cousins with Michigan State.
Yeah.
Just a good Big Ten pure pocket passer.
Yep.
So, we don't want to lose him. We'll see what happens with Thompson. Purdy has more eligibility. I can't imagine Purdy, being a backup for 2 seasons. I can see him leaving. He's going to have a lot of offers from other teams poaching him. So, not now. I'm talking about next offseason. So.
Yeah, give him a year. I think he's here at least a year, even if he doesn't start. And if Casey has any kinds of a decent year, he's probably going to the draft. So
right.
Then you've got Purdy with 3 years of eligibility left, and if he wins the job, shoot, you could have a pretty good quarterback sitting there. And then you've got, I think Richard Torres has all the arm talent in the world, and then you've got that William Pop Watson coming in from, was it Connecticut, Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's like Massachusetts or something like that. Yeah.
That dude's got a live arm for a little skinny kid.
Right.
So, and Whipple's been on him since he was in junior high. Right. So,
what'd you see from Smothers? I see a lot of people pretty much hoping, tweeting that, because of his. I saw Carricker also comment a few weeks ago, just due to Smothers' commitment, wanting to be there. They respect them. They want them to do well. But did you really? I didn't see much improvement at all passing wise.
Nope. Neither did I. But when you've been coached by Verduzco for 2 years, and then you get coached by a guy who knows how to coach a quarterback, and you're trying to unlearn everything you've already learned, I don't know. I saw, based on what little bit I could tell when he was in the game, he looked very uncomfortable in the pocket, and who can blame him? The tackles were awful at stopping the pass rush. So, yeah, it makes sense that his passing wasn't as good as it could have been, but he's not a pro-style quarterback.
No.
And that's what Whipple wants. He wants a pro-style, but he wants a dude that's mobile at the same time. I mean, he wasn't afraid to run Pickett a little bit to keep people honest. And when you look back at Whipple's offense, everybody's pass happy. He's going to be a pass first guy. It was 52% passing versus 48 last year at Pitt. Granted, the yardage was much higher for passing than it was for rushing, but he ran the ball about 50% of the time, just often enough, and they were capable of running the football at the end of a game when they needed to to get rid of the clock, to run the clock down. So, I have plenty of hope that this offense can do enough to run the football, do enough to run the controlled passing game, and like we did back in the 90s, once you get so used to getting your butt kicked up front and running back coming down your throat, it's going to be real easy to hit somebody like Palmer, or even Latrell Neville showed some ability to get deep and get open and grab a ball that was not really easy to catch, which Farmer should have lit his ass up. He was right there to make the play, and he should have lit his ass up because it was tackle football at that point. And he should have, but they're told in the spring game, take care of your teammate. If you can take him down and not, make him wish he wasn't born, please do that. But
So let's
Go ahead.
let's assume the staff adds 3 more defensive linemen, right?
Yep.
Who can make an impact, who will share snaps. They may not start, and that's okay. But they've had Big Ten size, they have experience. So let's say they had 3, so they're fine defensive line, and they don't have injuries. And let's say the defensive line just takes a step back as far as stopping the run in the Big Ten, which isn't hard to believe looking at our makeshift defensive line and our replenished secondary, really, and without
Right.
JoJo Doman. So just say the defense takes a little step back, and that's okay. What do you see from the offense that can help the defense? Like the changes in the offense, whether schematically, the players they brought in, like what kind of offense will they run? I think the offense is going to have to help the defense next season. They're not going to be able to rely on the defense like they have as far as next season.
Well, let's look at it from the standpoint of last year's offense. The offense had no problem making hay between the 20s, right? I mean, this team had no issue moving the football every single game, no matter who the defense was, including Ohio State. They put up, damn near 400 yards against Ohio State's defense. So the team had no problem moving the football. The problem was scoring. The problem was being able to hit your 6'9" tight end in the corner of the end zone on a fade pattern, for crying out loud. Well, we know Casey Thompson can throw that corner route or that out route and put it exactly where it needs to be, so that his big tight end will get it. Because that was his first pass was Borkature to a tight end in the spring game, which they've said a lot of these reads, a lot of these pass plays now have the tight end as the first read. And they don't have their 4 best tight ends in yet right now. They've been hurt. So I think the offense works. I think the offense will work. It's just a matter of, is it going to work in the Big Ten? Is it going to work well enough where we score, what would we have needed? 8 points a game more or less in all of our Big Ten games this year, and we would have been, we would have easily been in a bowl game. I mean, to me, I see this as an offense based on some of the things I've been hearing on some podcasts and some people in the media that seem to be kind of in the know without really seeing anything. They're definitely committing to running the football to set up the pass. And if that doesn't work in any particular game, then they can start throwing some pass plays out there to help set up the run. That's kind of what I see. I see not near as much, because what did we do? We ran the ball 62% of the time last year.
A lot of it was QB runs, though.
Yeah, a lot of it. We're not going to see that. I don't think we're going to see a lot of called QB runs, but I think we're going to see a lot of the run concepts that Frost likes to run. Some of that stuff from Oregon, which was, basically a power spread with guys like Mariota and whatnot that were just mobile enough to keep a defense honest without having to call a 3rd and 2 quarterback power every time you have a 3rd and 2. I think you're going to see, and which is, let's be honest, Greg Austin's blocking style was not the style that's going to get you a 3rd and 2 with a running back. It'll get you a 3rd and 2 with a good quarterback, but not with a running back. At least that's the evidence we've seen for 4 years, right? I think Raiola, here's hoping that it's doing what they say it's doing, which is moving moving the pile forward, and it certainly seemed to move that defensive line forward a lot in the second half of the spring game when they could actually have to tackle guys. There seemed to be a lot of room in the middle. So we'll see. I'd say we're going to see more of a ball control offense. I don't think you're going to see us trying to go explosive constantly like it seemed like last year when we had Toure. It seemed like that's what we wanted to do, was try to get him 2 to 3 deep balls per game. I don't know if you're going to see Trey Palmer targeted for 2 or 3 deep balls a game unless the offensive line is really making hay for the running game. Then, yeah, maybe we will. But, yeah, I see a lot more of that West Coast run out of some more spread concepts along with some more under center stuff. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind of where I see it going.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to see. If they lock in too much on wide receivers, they start going deep too much. They're just too predictable with all the players they brought in. Feel like they have to give them the ball, and they don't focus on time of possession, and they punt too soon. They keep putting the defense on the field. I think we'll just have the inverse result. They'll fall behind a lot more. The field position will be a lot worse. Even with a good punter, field position will be a lot worse. Like, other teams are going to move the ball on this defense, at least to begin the season. I think they'll take some time. I'm hoping, like you said, they just focus more on time of possession.
Sure.
Not call conservative plays, but try to run the ball a little more, at least wide. Stop trying to go up the middle so much. And just try to incorporate more play action, just shorter passing.
Sure.
And just take time off the clock and just try to help your defense. I just think if they just try to air it out a little too much, like it's the ACC, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. They will fall behind big. I think the defense is going to regress a little bit, at least to start. They might improve a lot more halfway through the season. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping to see, especially with the running backs that they have. They're more versatile.
Yeah, we need to see what I'd like to see in this offense versus what I think I'll see. I'm not sure what we'll see because nobody really knows yet what the Cool Whip offense is going to look like. But what I'd like to see is absolutely clock management, ball control, get the ball in the second half and go on a 7.5-minute scoring drive to take a 10-point lead after you've led it by 3 points at halftime, right? That's what, logically would make the most sense. Take away the team's will on the other side of the line of scrimmage because they're not getting a 3 and out today. Just not happening. They're going to have to at least play, 6 to 10 downs every time they run out on field on defense. That's what I would truly like to see because if you're keeping the ball for 6 to 10 plays every time you go on offense, that means that field position is never going to be in your opponent's favor. So play the field position game, make sure that your punter can drill those 63-yarders when he's got the wind like he did in the first punt in the spring game, and then try not to shank a 15-yarder off the side of his foot in the second quarter, and obviously once Bleak Road gets here and we hopefully have a field goal kicker that's not going to become a head case. That'll make a big difference too, because it's been pointed out on podcasts like the Go Big Red Cast and whatnot. Nebraska gave up 46 non-conventional points last year. You take those points away, and we're in a bowl game. We're probably sitting at 6 or 7 wins minimum if you take those points away. So it wasn't the defense that necessarily let down the team, and it necessarily wasn't, quote unquote, the offense. Hell, we outscored everybody except when it really mattered. I mean, we blew people out of the water when we won, and we barely lost when we lost, as we saw. So give me some more ball control. Give me the ability to score once you get into the red zone. And do that by not doing that within the first 3 minutes after you get the football. Take 5 to 7 minutes to do it. And, yeah, I think we're going to like it a whole lot better.